Hello, fellow book lovers of the internet. It's Cecil, it's Wednesday, and I'm back with another writing vlog. Is it just me, or did January, drag on forever and then February was gone? It has been a very sleepy, health-filled few months, as will happen in this time of the year, and I am sure that others with seasonal affective disorder, I'm sure you get what I mean. But while I was very low energy in the filming department, I actually had quite a great deal of writing inspiration. It wasn't consistent, it wasn't every single day, but there was definite inspiration that continuously hit. I have now detailed the outline of my book through chapter 5, and that is very exciting. It feels like I'm kind of writing a sweet love letter to the original version of the book, you know? Like, dear original story concept, I love the things that you valued in a story when we originally created it when we were young, but we're older now, and those things still have value to us, but so do other things. So let's embark on this new journey together and create a new, beautiful story out of our ideals. Things that felt awkward and didn't make any sense. I'm swirling in my chair so much. I'm sorry. It's the ADHD. What are you gonna do? Things that made very little sense in the original story now have a driving influence or a purpose to their existence. I'm still in the beginning story arc, and I haven't decided how long the story necessarily needs to stay in that beginning phase. I feel like the first few times that I wrote the book, it stayed there way too long. So I definitely don't want to overdo it and keep myself in that beginning arc for longer than necessary. But I also feel like I don't want to skip through it and then miss opportunities to do some dynamic building, some world building, all that stuff. So, it's just it's a lot of figuring out what moments serve the greater story, what can be left out, what can be skipped over, what should just be kind of fast forwarded through. And this is hard for me because I feel like, did anyone else go through that phase? That phase where you focus so hard on every individual tree that you forget to actually show the reader the forest. I feel like my writing style when I was between the ages of 13 and 15 was very zoomed in. I was very focused on describing every little thing, and not in a good way. To the point where I was too zoomed in. I needed to zoom out. I needed to actually talk about what was going on. And then I feel like for a while, I zoomed too far out. I was not making a note of literally every little action my characters took, but that meant that I was like, wait, do I know if they have sat down or if they've stood up yet? Where are they? So it's been, and I think that now I have a lot more balance, and I have come to the point where there's definitely purpose in mundane, the slice of life, but if that's all there is in a story that's supposed to be an action-filled adventure, that's not what we're going for. In the previous writing vlog, I told you my 3 goals for what was for the month of December, but has pretty much carried through the month of February. That would be finish writing my main players' histories and motivations, dive deeper into the figures that shaped Aaron's and Heather's pasts, and envision the ways that different cliques and social groups would start developing within the parallel community. And as for the first, I did it! I broke down all of my floating thoughts about my antagonist, and I gave him a name, and I tried thinking more deeply about what makes sense and what doesn't. How honest is he about his motivations, and how will that impact the way that others interact with him, and what might allude to or fully reveal that he is a liar. Of course, like I said, I did name him. I finally gave him a name. And I don't know if it's going to stick. I like it for now, but not enough to announce it, you know? I'm also like, you know, I have a hard time. I have a hard time with naming characters. This is the hardest part for me. But, you know, the second goal, a lot less progress in that regard. I have thought about the characters that have shaped Aaron's and Heather's personalities throughout the years quite a lot, but I haven't actually like taken those thoughts and put it to the paper, you know? So over the next month I'll have to actually do that. And as for the third, the cliques and social groups within the parallel community, I have thought about it a lot, and it has fruited into actual work written down. I made a map of the housing slash building layout within the little community, and I started thinking about what characters might be in what houses and how their proximity to each other would, you know, influence the way that they interacted with each other. And then I also wanted to think about how many universes are we including in this multiverse melding pot, and within those universes, how many planets are they pulling people from? I decided to go with 5 universes total, so that's 4 that are not the parallel, and 2 planets from each, so that's 8 groups. And then, you know, people who come from the same universe or from the same planet, culture, you know, they would be more naturally drawn to each other, so that would also definitely contribute to the way that social groups form. I have put together a list of names, and if you're wondering how many names that is, it is 100. Oh boy. And then I used a random number generator to determine how many captives were coming from each universe and each planet within those universes. And soon I am going to start pairing them together and putting them into houses. Oh boy, even if the majority of those names never actually come up in the story, I feel like it's important to have them, right? Because what if I need a character and then I have to go through the whole process of it? No, no, no. This is much simpler. This is much easier, you know? Even though making names is the hardest part for me, I feel like having everything at the ready will mean that while I'm actually writing, that's like a lot less stress, you know? I mean, there's obviously going to be characters outside of this little area that I'll have to name, but I'm not horribly worried about it. I think it's going to be okay. I think I'll be able to get those names done. So now, the goals for the month ahead. Number 1, putting pen to paper on those thoughts about the important figures in Aaron's and Heather's life. I would also like to get into my antagonist's old associates just a little bit. I've done a lot of thinking, and there's definitely been like some of it that comes through with their individual character histories, but I want to delve more specifically into that, you know? Number 2, I would like to finish the work that I've started with the parallel community. As I just said, I would like to get everybody paired into houses and then determine where everyone is and start to make a clear map of how they engage with each other within the community. And I also want to tackle the issue of language barriers. I feel like a lot of sci-fi just kind of utilizes a universal or multi-universal translator. And I am not above that trope. I just have to decide if I want to submit to the cliche or if I really want to try and do something new. I have already been thinking about this a little bit, so I will keep you guys posted. And number 3, I would like to write out the general series of conflicts in the Parallels' recent history that has led them to the situation they're in right now. The wars on Earth, the antagonist's arrival, the way that the antagonist was received, how those things shifted from the original conflicts into the conflicts that are taking place now. Is there any remaining value to the old concept of nationality? Like, how long has it even been? Another just like world building questions to dive into. Progress continues to be made. It is so cool to actually be doing it and to actually be making progress. I'm very happy, and I am so excited for when the time finally comes that I will be able to share this progress with people, because I'm hoping that once all of this is taken care of, I'll be able to do more like plot work in April. But that's for another time. That's for another time. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Okay. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you are working on a writing project, what are some of your writing goals for the month ahead, if you have any? And then maybe if you don't, give me some feedback as a reader. What do you think of the concept of universal language translators? Do you think it's too played out and lazy? Should I, like, if you were reading the book, what kind of thing would you rather see implemented? You can follow me in the links in the description box below, and that includes my Ko-fi, where you can support a disabled and queer writer if you would like to. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.